Welcome to the Missional Clarity video series. We are filming this in one of the oldest churches in Regina. This is St. Matthew's Anglican Church. This church was originally started in 1907 and was started because of the work of a woman named Grace. Grace was committed to seeing the gospel go out here in Regina, so she started a Sunday school program. And over the years, that Sunday school program grew and grew as people came to meet Jesus and got to the point where the need for a big church building became evident. So in 1913, the decision was made to build the building that we are staying in right now, St. Matthew's Church. This building was built with a purpose. It was built with the purpose of and the hope of people encountering the life-changing message of Jesus, what we call the gospel. And that happened. For years, this church faithfully proclaimed the gospel to the city of Regina. But over the years, something happened here at St. Matthew's. What was so clear in 1917, what was so clear in 1913, what was so clear throughout the early years of this church began to get lost over time. A commitment to see the people of Regina hear the gospel slowly disappeared. It got pushed to the background. Other things became more important until that outward focus was replaced with an inward focus on survival. The baptismal that was used over and over again sat silent and began to collect dust. The pulpit where the gospel was proclaimed faithfully began to proclaim other messages. And as the gospel left the building, so too did the stories of gospel transformation. And eventually this church disappeared altogether. You see, a church that loses the gospel will lose the mission, and a church that loses the mission will be lost itself. Missional clarity is critical to the health and the life of the church. It's essential to what it means to be a follower of Jesus. It's something that will fade if we as leaders are not intentional about keeping it at the forefront. Because of this, we have created a resource for pastors and leadership teams to walk through together that will help them work together for renewed clarity around the mission of Jesus. Throughout this video series, we will work through an understanding of how we as leaders can move from missional murkiness to clarity and see that our churches re-engage in the mission of Jesus within the context that we find ourselves in. Throughout our time together, we are going to look at 5 lenses that will help us bring the mission of Jesus into focus for our congregations. Our first video is more of a diagnostic video. We want to be asking, how did we get here? Why or where did we lose sight of the mission of Jesus? How can we know our tendencies moving forward so we don't find ourselves back in this place of murkiness? Our second video is all about the gospel. Any loss of clarity when it comes to the mission starts with a loss of clarity around the gospel. The third video is on the mission of the church and how spiritual formation and the mission of Jesus work together. The fourth video is on developing a heart for our community. How can we as Christians have a Jesus-like compassion for the lost around us? And the fifth video is on equipping and sending. If we are going to call the church to mission, we must first equip them for that mission. Our desire is that this series would be an encouragement to you and your leadership teams. We pray that this would develop a deeper passion for Jesus in your life and in the life of your church, and that this passion for Jesus would fuel the mission for Jesus for the glory of God and the good of your community.